Welcome back to the dumbest bill in America. We have with us, of course, Delegate Brian Chisholm. Welcome back, Brian.
Good to be here.
And I'm Mark Fisher. So get this, we're calling this dumbest bill, Illegals Get Free Electricity. Brian, do you know, podcast listeners, that in the state of Maryland, the Democrats passed the Utility Relief Act. Sounds like a good bill, right? Trust me, it's not. And among other things, the bill provides for free taxpayer-funded electricity for illegal aliens. Well, we have Governor Wes Moore talking to a constituent, doing his little campaign acting. Here's a clip. Watch this first, then we're going to talk about the bill. Here it is.
These are federal policies that are causing energy bills to spike, where in Maryland, we've now gone over 15% in just the past year alone. So what we're trying to do is just make it a little bit more affordable for people to be able to manage and maintain that.
So Brian, that was Governor Moore talking to a constituent about how the federal government has driven up utility bills in Maryland. What do you think?
And when we talk about utilities, we talk about everything, right? We talk about water, sewer, and electricity. And he rightfully understands, the constituent does, they're very high. Matter of fact, we're number one in the country.
Of electricity bills?
Of utility bills, when they combine all three. Electricity, we're like, we're in the bottom 10 or 13. But when utility...
So just to clarify, Maryland has some of these, by some measures, Maryland has the highest median electricity bills in the country.
Correct.
And I think that that's 100% true, because I've seen my electricity bill. So have you, podcast listeners. So has Brian. Go ahead.
And then he's talking about federal policy. Well, you and I know that 30 to 35% of every bill, PG&E bill or electric bill we pay here in Maryland is taxes, fees, and nonsense, right?
Yes.
Reggie and power, all that crazy stuff. There's not really much on federal tax in there. I don't even know if there is, to be honest with you. And this president, to his credit, has said, we're going to open up supply, and they have. And you see states like West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Virginia. I just put out an article about this, how Virginia's has in the top 5% cheapest cost of electricity. But yet they're right next to us. West Virginia, the same thing. They're all much cheaper. Pennsylvania is like in that mid-range. Mm-hmm. And the reason Pennsylvania is in that mid-range is because we're stealing all their electricity, and they're mad about it. So we're taking their electricity, causing their rates to go up. And the governor turns around and says, it must be the orange man in the White House.
It must be the federal government, is what the governor was just saying in that, canned interview, if you will, because it's all phony when he does this stuff. But here's the thing. The Democrat Party, Brian, in 2026, passed the Utility Relief Act, which is why we're calling this Illegals Get Free Electricity. So in the bill, the Democrats updated the description of the bill. And here's one of the things that it does. It does many things. It says that beginning in just a few months, if you're here illegally in the state of Maryland, in other words, you are an illegal alien, you get your electricity paid for free. I can't make this stuff up. You, the ratepayers, American citizens who live in Maryland, are paying for people who got here yesterday and are here illegally. You're paying for their electricity bills, among many other things. And so the Governor Moore says in this, little canned interview, he goes, oh, well, it's the guy in the White House that's caused this. Meanwhile, their policies are taking money from you and giving it to their constituents. Go ahead.
Yeah, and remember, that Utility Relief Act, we found out that it saves the average taxpayer like $1.60 per year or $1.60 per month. It was like $15.
Maybe
say $15.
Maybe,
but some other people are going to get that for free, and in-state tuition and whatever else we add on for illegals.
Well, 30% of your electricity bill at least is taxes, right? So if they really wanted to save money, then multiply 30% times your electricity bill, and that's how much relief you could get. But the Democrats need that 30% of taxes in part to pay electricity bills for undocumented people, as they call it here. They don't call them illegal aliens in the bill. They call them undocumented.
Yeah, I think one of the more shocking things about this, not shocking at all, actually, but if you're what you're telling me is they changed this after the fact, right?
They did.
So it's almost like, you ever go to New York City?
I mean, the bill passed, but then they changed the description after the bill passed.
So when we passed it, it didn't say undocumented in there, correct?
And we voted, it did not. And we voted against the bill, of course.
Of course.
So as you might expect, I mean, it was this massive bill that did so many different things, except the key thing, which is to actually reduce your electricity bill.
Exactly. It reminds me of, like, you ever been to New York City and they play the shell game? If anybody doesn't know this, they play the shell game. They have you make it look easy, and then you go and you have to bet on one of the shells, and you find out the little ball's not underneath of it.
Yes.
They're actually holding the ball, but nobody knows that.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what it's like dealing with the Democrats. I mean, they're like, we're being fair, just pick a shell, and then you pick the shell and it's not there, and you lose, and then we find out they changed the bill after the fact, or changed the wording in it, or the physical note figured out, hey, this counts undocumented people. So in the state of Maryland, who do we help? We help the criminals, we help the juvenile criminals, we help the illegals, and we don't help anybody else.
That's exactly right. And again, it's illegals get free electricity. And by the way, the Democrats waited until the very end of the legislative session to pass a bill that allegedly gave relief. Of course, it doesn't unless you're illegally present in Maryland, then it gives you relief. So they had all 90 days to do something, and they waited at the very end and rushed it through because they were hoping to catch Republicans to vote for this Trojan horse.
Well, that's what they wanted to say was this is how the gate works, right? Republicans voted against you getting a break on your electricity bill. Exactly. Well, I can tell you how this is going to work out. It works out like everything else in the state of Maryland. Some nonprofit is going to run this program for the undocumented. So I'm sorry, all the undocumented illegals here, you're probably not going to get much of a savings either, because it's got to get run through some Robin
Maybe it'll
Hood.
be Dana Stein that does it. We'll give him one more thing to make money on.
I don't know.
And that's the dumbest bill in America. Illegals get free electricity, but you get stuck with the bill. See you next time.